Hi guys. Just wait for people to come in. Hello, hello, hello. Just waiting to see if anyone can find us. Waiting to see if anyone can find us. There's just two people in. Hi, Dorian. Dorian, are you alright? Nice to see you. Probably, oh, I can't share it in the group because on my phone. I'm good, thank you. Just waiting to see anybody else that might join. Hi, Emmy. I don't know if anyone can share the link in the Facebook group. I'm using my phone at the moment, so I can't do it. Never thought about that. But if anyone is able to share in the Facebook group, see if we can get some people in. This is very much the a last minute thing. Apparently, Jen forgot that she's not been well. Oh, okay. Well, thanks, May, for doing that on the other live. Um, if I get any other of the admins in, I can get them to post a link in the group. Oh, thank you, Dorian. Thank you for doing that. That's a great help. As I say, as you know, that we didn't have Tarot Tuesday yesterday because Jen wasn't well, and she's better today, but she'd forgotten all about the fact that it was Wednesday and it was supposed to be the Shadowwork check-in, and until I informed her that we were waiting on the original live, and she'd forgotten all about it. Bless her. Um, So, and it's not normally on a Wednesday anyway. It's normally on a Thursday, but with it being Thanksgiving in the US, tomorrow she moved it to Wednesday this week, and of course, we've not been too well. It went completely out of her mind. So, um, I thought I would just come on quickly in the admin channel, at, with Jen's knowledge and approval. Um, just to check in with you guys. Hope things are going well with you with your shadow work, and I just thought I would take the opportunity to go through. some things in my experience with shadow work. Um, Hi, Leanne, good to see you. Um, in case any of my experiences sort of gel with any of yours, and can be of help to you, and maybe you can give me some pointers too, because I'm fairly new to this shadow work business that we've been doing with Jem, and I'm not sure. She did mention something to me about possibly rescheduling it for tomorrow 1 p.m., but I wasn't sure about that because it's Thanksgiving and at 1 p.m. I'm not sure how many people would attend that. I don't know. I don't think that's set in stone. She'll change the event. Oh, you went sub to this channel? Yeah, that's the thing. It's um we haven't used this admin channel, the Wise Nuts one, for a while. We've been meaning to restart it again. And that's another reason why I thought that I could just quickly go on and have a bit of a chat with you guys, so that at least you will have had some kind of input tonight. Not as good as what Jen would have to offer, I'm sure, but I thought I could stand in just for a brief moment. And yes, Jen's doing okay. Jen's a lot better today, apparently. Um, at She's just not in a position at the moment to search. She'd forgotten all about doing this, that she got this on tonight. That happens when you get ill, doesn't it? And she'd not um realized the day and everything, and until I informed her we were all sat there waiting in the other live. So so she's okay. She's okay. But you know, because of the short notice, she's not in a position to suddenly come on and you know, I'm sure she'll explain when she next comes on. Um, so I just said to her, I said, well, I'll go on live for a bit on the admin channel because we've not used the admin channel for a while, and I'll just go on and give my little bit of input so that people have got something. Um, they don't, because they were all geared up. So here we go. Yeah, so so this shadow work business. I'm using the this journal that she's using the prompts from. I don't know if some of you you've gotten that. I did the first couple of. I'm actually writing using the book for the prompts, but I'm actually I've got this notebook that I'm writing the answers into, because I thought, well, um, the this might not be enough. So, and it wasn't. Um, so there we go. So I've been using this. I'm just putting the same answers in with the prompts at the top, and then writing the answer, and um, putting the three things that I appreciate about myself, any triggers of the day, and then and so on. And I did the first two, and I've got to catch up because um, I had a look at last week's and give you the answers. Well, I haven't got all the answers there, Leanne. I mean, there's no real right or wrong answer because it's it's different for each of us, isn't it? The answer is going to be different. Question might be the same, but the answer is going to be different because we all have different experiences. We all have different makeups as people. We can have similar experiences, but Um, yes. I mean, yes, three things you like about yourself is a very good exercise because it gets you to think positively about yourself. Um, I think with some others we can quite easily think of some more negative aspects of ourselves. Um, and but when it comes to being more positive, some of us struggle. Maybe some of us are more confident than that and can come up quite easily. But I know I sometimes find it difficult, and I know some other people do too. But that's the that's the advantage of doing that into exercise because it makes you think and shift your focus away from what you may be critical of and see yourself in a more positive light, which is always a good thing. Um, I like this quote from the book, by the way. Only in the darkness can you see the stars. So we may be exploring our shadows, but you know they provide some light. Some light will come through um, through that. Yes, that's right. Shadow work is getting comfortable with the grey and not black and white concepts. Is we are a mixture of the black and white, aren't we? Nothing is. Hi, Laura. You can do that. Um, really, yes, it can dredge up a lot of your past. Some things that you may have forgotten. Um, I mean, I can give an example of that. The first question that we had, the first prompt that we had for the first week. Um, okay, I'm good, thank you. Hope you're doing well. Nice to see you. Um, and that first prompt was, this is going back to the very first one. What events from my past have hurt me? Um, I I struggled with this because well, there've been lots of events that and situations that could fulfill on that, and we could probably fill pages of that. Um, and um, I couldn't think. But when I was then meditating, all of a sudden something came into my mind, and it was a memory from my childhood that again, like you're saying, that something that had been tucked away that you'd forgotten about suddenly came to light out of the blue, and it and as I say, as I put in the notebook, I put several events have occurred which could fall into this category, from losing grandparents, losing friends, to being misunderstood, being betrayed by a friend, also in this category. One of the most recent hurtful events is the sudden loss of when my mum died. That was a hurtful event, back in 2012. Um, these have, to my knowledge, been largely worked through. Lessons have been learned as I've moved on. Maybe there's still work to be done. That is, um, that remains to be seen. Because sometimes we think we may have dealt with some things, but we look at them, we realize that maybe there's still a little bit of work to do. Um, that's all part of what can come up during shadow work. One surprising event which came to mind was something which happened between the ages of 5 and 9. I wasn't sure what the age was. I know this happened at school, and I know the school I was at, and I was at that school between the ages of 5 and 9. I think I would guess it was around about sevenish, the age of 7. So um, during when we were doing a physical education, gym class, um, I fell from a piece of climbing apparatus and injured my wrist in what would turn out to be a bad sprain. At first, it didn't seem quite so bad, so I ignored it. I didn't even mention it when I got home. It worsened over time, so I eventually, you know, and made it painful to do certain things. So obviously, I then informed my mum about it, and the matter was raised with the school. And the thing is that the school, more or less dismissed it as nothing serious. And it was almost like I was being accused of lying about it or exaggerating it, because the argument was I hadn't mentioned it at the time that it happened, and I hadn't even mentioned it when I got home, so it couldn't have been that bad. Well, it wasn't. Um, and the thing is that when something like that happened, I was very loath to mention anything, because of, the unless it was really serious enough, I just wanted to deal with it myself. That was the kind of keeping things to myself. Whether that's a good or bad approach is debatable, but I was only 7, and that's how I handled things. It's only when it became um, too much for me to ignore. But that incident um, made me feel as if I wasn't being believed, and that I was being accused of something that I wasn't doing. And I've realized that was the first but not the last time that something like that happened, and it's been an issue that sometimes, because I stay silent when I should be speaking up, when I finally speak up, then my motives are questioned, and it's things like that. And that's all from that sort of aspect that I got just from that memory that I'd totally forgotten about, up until the point that I was thinking about this prompt, and it would not have been the answer that I would have picked or even thought of, but I was so stumped on how to answer it that when I meditated on it, that's the memory that came to the surface. So if we're finding it difficult, to answer these things, if we're using these prompts, it may be a good idea to just meditate on it and let something come. Let the shadows reveal themselves. Um, Sometimes the more we try and find them, um, the the harder it is to find them. Sometimes we need to let them reveal themselves naturally. So, and that's an example. That's an example that I give where that happened. Um, so, and of course, through the past week or so, um, been using the prompts in this journal. And if you don't have the journal, it doesn't matter, because um, um, oh, you're welcome. I didn't mind sharing that, because I've just want to give an example of what it is, and it's funny. Um, it's funny how often we do have similar experiences that maybe happen in different ways to each of us, and sometimes at similar ages as well. Um, when these things occur, um, but it's all part of life, and it's recognizing perhaps what shadow that created in us that may be still there. And obviously, there is a shadow that's still there for me, and I think it still has an impact. Up to now, it may be that one may have come, when I was at the age of 7, but as I say, it was echoed in various ways once it became a shadow in me. it was sort of like the pattern was repeated occasionally in how different situations played out, and so it's interesting. That is. So as I was saying, you don't have to have this journal, but Jen does use it when she does her shadow work um, uh, series lives and I think she still plans on doing it this Saturday, but that will be confirmed. Hopefully, she will be well enough. I think she'd have been well enough to do tonight if she'd have remembered sooner. Um, but we'll let her relax and sort of recuperate a bit more. So you don't need to do this, but she does use this, and she takes the prompts out. So we will at least um, get the prompts. You will be given the prompts. So even if we don't have the book, and we can write down the prompts and use a notebook to put the answers and responses in, like I have been doing. And also we may get things coming up that are nothing to do with the prompts that we've been getting each week. We normally get two at a time, don't we? As I say, I did the first two. I'm more or less um, thinking about. I'll just quickly go through the prompts we've had so far, if that would be useful. Um, what events from my past have hurt me? That was the first one, giving you an example of that. When I'm most uncomfortable, I I handle it by doing this. That was a good one. In fact, that was the one I answered first because that one I knew exactly what to put for that. And if you want, I can show you something of what I put for that one. Yes, there are a few ways I would handle a situation in which I was uncomfortable. One of the main ways is through avoiding it. I would either, it's through avoidance. I'd try and avoid the situation if possible. I would either ignore it, so pretend it wasn't there, wasn't happening, or I would prefer to remove myself from the situation if it was possible to do so. Um, and, and sometimes that would even involve getting quite taking drastic measures like cutting myself off from others, not being non-communicative with others, closing off channels of communication, more or less leaving a situation, cutting off the putting barriers up against everybody, even the people that would help me. Uh, you know, and I likened it to being like a tortoise response where you totally withdraw into your shell, for protection. Your legs go in, your head goes in, and you've just got the outside shell that's protecting you, and you don't want to peek out. That is the response that I would use to deal with it. Another way that I might use to handle uncomfortable situations is by making light of it. So it's almost like that's kind of ignoring it in a sense by diluting it, by watering it down, by using humor to make light of it. So, and funnily enough, in the appreciate three things about yourself in your life, three things I put for in that response was firstly my sense of humor, because I appreciate my sense of humor. Some other people apparently do from time to time. And I also appreciate the fact, even in the shadow sense, that it does help me deal with these situations, even if it's not necessarily the right or the best response. It's a response. It's my response, and it has worked for me in some cases, and I can appreciate that that is something that I can have that is there to use for whatever means, and also my knowledge, the things I've learned, my mind, how I can use my mind with things, work things out, and also wanting to help others as an aspect of myself that I can appreciate. Um, and this is good to do this, on a regular basis, is to highlight the things that you are you're that you're good with. So these prompts are very good. Um, there's also the aspect of of being triggered as well, doesn't it? I think I'm just looking to see if I can give you an example of being triggered and what that might say. I did suppose to. Yes, here's a good example because it shows, in a sense, it ties in a little with the memory that I had from being a child. So this was when I was driving. I was this was actually on my own street, and I was going out somewhere, and there were cars parked on one side, and there was a car coming up. So I had to wait in the road for that car to come up, and go on his way up the street so I could go down, because there was only one way, in a room for sort of one line of traffic to move because of the parked cars. So I stood back and waited to let that car go. And when that car was going to go out the way, I would then proceed onwards. While I was stood there in waiting for this other car, this truck came behind me, blasting its horn, swerving around me, as if he was getting impatient and tooting his horn at me as if I was causing an obstruction. Uh, well, I suppose I was, but there was a reason for that. And then he swerved around me and realized there was a car coming up the way, and I thought, well, that's why I was stopped, and I felt, that triggered me a bit because it was like I was being arrested for something. I was for doing something right, um, and I was almost being treated as if I was in the wrong and doing something wrong. And it was almost like when that incident at school, when I hadn't done anything wrong, I was actually just informing them of something that happened, but I was being treated as if I was the villain in the situation, and I wasn't. And that was a triggering response. And it just sort of have a link with that. So um, that's how everything can tie together, and that's why these prompts and the questions that we can get from that. But I will say, um, don't limit yourself just to the prompts in the book. These are a starting point or a guideline. I mean, Jen says you don't even have to use the prompts if you don't want to, but they're there, that she gives them as a starting point. But things may come up through the process that have not come from the book. I've had issues suddenly just come to mind, come to the surface, um, out of the blue almost. That when you start doing this process, it's almost like you're opening doors, and the more doors you're opening, um, you know, you see more doors that weren't there before, weren't visible before, um, and it goes on, and it can. The thing I want to say is that go at your pace. I would say go at your pace. Um, don't feel that you have to do everything. Don't feel that you have to do everything immediately. Just take it steady, because it can be challenging. And as Jen often says, if you feel it's going to be too difficult for you, you don't have to go there. You don't need to. You can say, well, I'm not ready to look at that at the moment, and you can put it down and go on to something else. But the other side of that is don't not do it because it's a little bit uncomfortable. Um, we've got to be willing to go out of our comfort zone a bit if we're going to work with the shadow aspects of ourselves. So I hope that's been useful. just to check in. So, has anybody got any questions? Anybody got anything that's worked for them? I know what you mean, Laura, because you could go on, you might need a bigger book. I thought that, that's why I'm using the notebook, because you could go on forever. And if you need to use a separate notebook, you don't, I mean, obviously, you can write in this, but if you haven't got the book or you don't want to write in this, um, then the other reason why is that I might actually, at some point, do this again next year, and I may use the same prompt. So I don't want to write in the book, because what I might do is I might make some copies of the pages so I can just write in those each time I do it. So did I read out all the past prompts? No, I didn't, did I? Look, thank you, Leanne, keeping me on track there. Right, I did the first two, wasn't it? So the first two that I did, what events from my past have hurt me, is the first one. What events from my past have hurt me? Then I've just talked about when I'm most uncomfortable, I handle it by doing this. And that's why I used to get a notebook to put up a limit. That's also a good point, because it may keep you concise and focused by having a small space to write in, and keep you on track. So there is that way of looking at it. As Jen often says, what works for you. I say there's, if that's the way that works for you, then by all means do go to that. So I say the second prompt was when I am most uncomfortable, I handle it by doing this. Okay, okay, right. The third one that we had we got two each week. So that was the first week. Those two. Second week we had I am most judgmental about because. I've still yet to write something up for that. I've been thinking about it. I think my answer would be I'm most judgmental about, and it's something to do with myself. Being too judgmental on me. Because not entirely sure why. That's the bit I'm trying to work out. And then the other one for that week was, what do I want to heal from? Well, it might be to heal from some kind of past memory, or that's still affecting me, or it could be from being judgmental of myself. I want to heal from that. So those are the two for the second week, and then we got the next two to think about for this week coming, wasn't it? This Saturday coming, is what am I most reactive to and why? I'm thinking about what it means about being reactive to. I suppose it means a situation that causes you to react a certain way, and why do you react a certain way? So and then the last one of that will up to this week, so this will be up to date. What memories from childhood stand out? Now there may be a few there's some of us may have with that. What feelings surface when I remember them? So that's the ongoing one for this week that we'll probably go into a bit on Saturday, or whenever the next shadow work ends up being. Hopefully, it will be this Saturday. So those are the prompts. Those are the prompts we have so far that's been given out. So so that's where we're at the moment. Um, I want to finish by saying, by asking if you have any questions. I'm by no means an expert on this. I'm new to this. Jen knows a lot more about this than I do. But maybe if you're in the same boat as me and have some questions, even if I don't know the answer, I may be able to sort of shoot it back up the line, as it were, and you may get an answer later on from someone that knows a bit more. So let me just have a look. Yeah, sometimes journaling is. Sometimes I don't always, funnily enough, get down to the routine of journaling perhaps as often as I would like. So that can be tricky. Some of us perhaps are really good at this. Some of us may not be so good at this. So and I hope everybody's still taking care of themselves. Treat yourself well. Look after yourself. Jen always talks about positive affirmations, and I do stand by that, even though I have a personal issue with positive affirmations that I am currently working on. I think it's more with these positive affirmations. It's if I don't believe what I'm saying, why am I saying it? Kind of thing, you know. It's almost like you're trying to trick yourself into believing something that you don't actually believe. I'm probably looking at it totally the wrong way, but that's something I'm currently working on. So I hope this check-in has been useful. If anybody does have anything else they want to raise and say, now's the time to do it. If not, we'll call it a night because it's just a check-in, and Jen can take the baton up when she next comes on. So, but I've just thought I wanted to give a little bit of input and give yourselves the chance so you didn't totally miss out tonight. So I wish you well, and if you're in the Facebook group, Mama Squirrels Wish You Wisdom, if you're in the group, by all means, if you have any questions, any issues, if you have any issues, put them there. Any questions, any things to share, you're more than welcome to put things like that into the group. It's what we're doing, so you can get in. Yeah, I know, Leanne. The affirmations train the subconscious, brain to believe what it's told. Yeah, I get it, and you know, I'll work through it. I'll get to the point where I'll probably be the biggest fan of positive affirmations by the time I've finished. I'm not disputing them. I'm not saying don't use them. I'm encouraging you to use them. So, as I say, any questions you can put into the group, ask us, all the admins, message Jen or whatever. Until then, take care, everybody, and I will see you all again very soon. Anybody that watches my videos will recognize that farewell. Okay, goodbye.